WNBA television ratings down more than 50%. We should probably do a study on that. I'm not sure why that would be. Wait. Since Caitlin Clark's injury.
Just imagine my surprise when Uncle KC found out that the WNBA is struggling to maintain their ratings without Caitlin Clark. To make matters worse, and this is something I have definitely noticed in the last 3 or 4 weeks, especially since the All-Star game, the WNBA seems to be struggling to maintain interest.
What if I told you that a single quad muscle, just one stubborn strip of tissue in Caitlin Clark's left leg, has exposed the biggest illusion in women's basketball? Because here's the common belief. The WNBA is finally breaking through, riding a wave of talent, diversity, and storylines, building something bigger than any individual name. That's what fans, analysts, and league officials have been telling us for years. The expectation is that this surge was about the game itself. But the reality? Strip Caitlin Clark from the court for just a few weeks, and more than half the league's viewers vanished as if someone yanked the cord out of the television. That's not a ripple, that's a crater. And it's forcing owners, sponsors, and fans to confront a harsh truth. The WNBA may not be building a league. It may be building a single-player show. Now, before you think this is just hot take territory, let's look at the receipts. Caitlin Clark goes down with a left quad strain on May 24th. Overnight, the league's national TV audience collapses by 55%. That's not me exaggerating. It's Nielsen data. Before her injury, WNBA games were pulling in nearly 1.8 million viewers on average. After, 847,000. Imagine half the crowd walking out of an arena mid-game. Indiana Fever games specifically, the team Clark calls home, saw the exact same nosedive. And this isn't just about numbers. This is about what those numbers mean. An entire business model that was supposed to stand on 12 teams and a roster of stars, suddenly balancing on the shoulders of one injured guard from Iowa. So here's the plan. First, we'll unpack the immediate collapse and why it's not just a temporary injury issue, but a structural problem. Then we'll dig into why Clark is unlike anything the league has ever had, and why her absence feels like a blackout. Finally, we'll explore what the owners are saying, the wild theories about boycotts, and what the WNBA can do to fix a foundation that may not be as solid as advertised. Let's start with the second best storyline here, the raw numbers themselves, the gut punch that made even the most optimistic owners break character. Owners almost never speak out. They hide behind PR statements, jargon about growth and progress. But the floor falling out forced some candor. One owner, off the record, admitted, "We knew Caitlin was a big draw, but nobody expected the floor to fall out like this." Translation: "We thought she was a cherry on top. Turns out she was the whole sundae." Another said flatly, "The numbers are a gut punch. We thought we'd built a foundation. We hadn't." Context: the league was hyped up as having momentum, from multiple stars, packed arenas, and surging merch sales. Application: one injury stripped that illusion bare. Framing: this is no longer about just an injured player. It's about a business model that cannot survive a single star's absence. Now let's move to the best storyline: Caitlin Clark herself. Because she's not just another player, she's a phenomenon. Before her injury, she wasn't just dropping 19 points a game. She was stacking 9 assists, 6 boards, a triple-double in the season opener. But the stats don't even capture it. She's a walking logo shot, a highlight generator, the kind of player you tune in for even if you don't know the rules. She had casual fans, folks who never once typed WNBA standings into a search bar, flipping channels just to watch her. In other words, she wasn't just raising the ceiling of the league, she was carrying the floor. And here's the framing. When your league growth is actually Clark growth, her injury doesn't just bruise her quad, it bruises your entire ratings ecosystem. But here's the kicker. It's not just about her being gone, it's about how fans feel she's been treated. Cue the boycott theory. Analyst Rachel Deitch floated the idea that fans weren't just tuning out because Clark was injured. Some were deliberately refusing to watch as a form of protest, frustrated by how the league and media partners downplayed her impact. Social media receipts back it up, posts dripping with sarcasm. "Wait, I thought Angel Reese was the real draw?" Guess not. Or the more blunt takes. The Caitlin Clark effect is real. Downplay it all you want. Numbers don't lie. Application. Whether or not there's an organized boycott, the perception of mistreatment created friction. Framing. It means the WNBA isn't just battling Clark's injury, it's battling the narrative war over her significance. Mini cliffhanger here, because the timing made it worse. Clark wasn't the only one out. Paige Buchers, another young phenom, went down. Add the NBA Finals, the Stanley Cup, the French Open clogging the calendar, and the league found itself competing against not one storm, but a perfect storm. Result? Ticket prices, once sky-high, dropped to literal $3 fire sales. The All-Star Game dipped 36% in ratings compared to last year. Stadiums that were standing room only a month ago now echo with empty seats. The projection of $1 billion revenue year? Suddenly it feels like a balloon with the air hissing out. So, how is the league framing its future? For now, all eyes are on one date, June 14th, the potential return of Clark against the New York Liberty. That matchup is already being hyped as the ratings savior, the cavalry riding over the hill. Buzz is building. But here's the uncomfortable question. What happens after? Do fans stick around, or does Clark become the only show worth watching? Like a TV series that cancels itself when the lead actor takes a break? Owners are starting to realize they need more than a quick ratings spike. There's talk of building rivalries, old-school NBA style, Celtics-Lakers for the WNBA. There's talk of pushing Angel Reese, Aja Wilson, Sabrina Ionescu harder into the spotlight, scheduling tweaks to dodge the NBA and NHL juggernauts. But even as they pitch solutions, the framing is clear. The WNBA is learning in real time that star power isn't just marketing fluff, it's survival. And if one injury can cut your audience in half, that's not resilience, that's fragility. Here's the reality the league has to face. TV networks and sponsors aren't sentimental. They don't buy hype, they buy numbers. And if the numbers don't rebound, all those big TV deals, all that corporate money starts evaporating. The WNBA is standing at a crossroads. Either it learns to diversify its storytelling, to create drama and stakes that go beyond Caitlin Clark's stat line, or it risks proving what critics have whispered all along, that its success was a one-woman mirage. So let's circle back. The expectation? The WNBA had finally broken through, a league rising on the collective strength of women's basketball. The reality? One quad strain pulled the curtain back, and behind it was a structure balanced on a single player's shoulders. It doesn't have to stay that way, but pretending otherwise won't save it, and here's where I'll leave you. Because this story isn't just about Clark, or even about the WNBA, it's about how fragile growth can be when it isn't built on depth, when it's built on one star shining so brightly that everyone else gets lost in the shadows. The league has a choice. Either use this injury as the wake-up call to build something sustainable, or keep coasting on borrowed time until the next injury, the next absence, forces this same conversation all over again. If you've stuck with me through this deep dive, you're exactly the kind of fan that leagues dream of having. The ones who want more than just the highlights, the ones who want the truth behind the scoreboard. So here's my ask. Stick around. Because Caitlin Clark will be back, but the bigger story is just starting. And if you're here when it unfolds, you won't just be watching a game. You'll be watching a league fight for its future. And trust me, that's a game worth tuning in for.